When a major supermarket retailer in South Africa launched their 1-hour delivery service in 2019, little did we know that that would transform the e-commerce landscape in the country. That retailer has recorded a 150% increase in their sales, and their app has been downloaded 2.4 million times. But the competition is really fierce because there are smaller companies, young startups, that are starting to nip at their ankles, offering a 15-minute delivery service, which is the new gold standard internationally. Such is the power of e-commerce, as well as just simply digitizing your business. Hi, my name is Dion Chang, and I'm going to give you a snapshot of the retail landscape in South Africa, and specifically why you should be looking at e-commerce or just simply digitizing your business. The pandemic has been a major driver in the evolution of e-commerce. In South Africa, in 2020, we saw a tipping point happening. This is when about 65% of people started to move online and did their first purchase with e-commerce. But the pandemic was a major contributor to the evolution of e-commerce in South Africa. New, smaller business models started emerging because of this contactless economy that we've entered. Things like social selling via social media platforms, or remote advisory services using relatively low-tech platforms like WhatsApp to reach to their customers and give a very personalized service. In Asia, the concept of live-streamed e-commerce, selling as you're talking with influencers or on social media, became really popular. So this is not going to change, because in Africa, there's been an inflection point. It's been a watershed moment in terms of e-commerce and also fintech startups. We've seen that if in South Africa, you've had a sort of a 65% adoption of people moving online for the first time, in East and West Africa, you've seen now that 30 or 40% of people are now very accustomed or comfortable with shopping online. But more importantly is the investment in young fintech startup companies. Since 2021, there's been a remarkable, almost 900% growth of investment within these fintech companies. That equates to about $1.5 billion for the African continent. So going into a digitized way of looking at retail and looking at e-commerce is going to be really important for the rest of the continent. But e-commerce itself is starting to evolve very quickly, and we're starting to move into an era called social selling, or selling via your social media platforms. The most popular ones at the moment are Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even Twitter. But the difference between e-commerce and social selling is that your new customer doesn't want to leave that platform. As one Gen Z shopper said, I've engaged with the brand on Instagram. I want to complete my entire transaction on the same platform. And this is the challenge. At the moment, you can tap onto a button on one of your social media feeds. It will take you to that brand's website. And then from that website, once you complete that transaction, it'll take you to a pay gate. What social selling is trying to do is to eliminate all of those steps and make it one fluid movement without leaving the same platform, which is a real challenge to do. There are only a few companies in Asia that have really been able to do this via their super apps. So you stay within one platform. As one Gen Z shopper put it, I've engaged with my brand or your brand on Instagram. Why can't I finish the entire transaction without leaving that platform? And that is the real challenge, because in the next couple of years, by 2025, you will see that social selling is going to grow 3 times faster than e-commerce. But the more we move into the digitization of business models and e-commerce, the more we have to start investing in your UX, that is your user experience. You want a seamless flow, a very intuitive flow, which will lead to a good CX, your customer experience. So service as an experience, whether it's online or offline, is becoming hyper important the more we move into this digitized way of selling and retail. So as digitized business starts growing and evolving, so too are the tools at your disposal. Walmart in the US has just launched something called Choose My Model. This is a nod to inclusivity and diversity, which is becoming very, very crucial for that customer service. With this model, you are able to put an avatar on the screen. You can change the body shape, your weight, your height, even your skin tone. And then with augmented reality, you're able to superimpose the garment onto your specific avatar to see what that garment really looks like. It is giving customer service a really credible boost from the comfort of your own home. But while we are looking at new customer services, in the back end, there are new tricks to marketing. And here we introduce a concept called dark advertising or dark marketing. It might sound a little bit sinister, but in essence, it is nudging you towards a purchase. These are adverts that are targeted very specifically to your demographic, to the time at which you are on a platform, and really specified to what your needs and likes really are. Because we have all of these new algorithms at our disposal, what you are starting to see is that companies are able to really zone in on your likes, your dislikes, your demographic, and even the time of day where you will be most relaxed to be able to see that advert. So you will see this advert, and somebody in the rest of your household or a friend that has similar interests will not see that same ad. They're very transient, they disappear, and they don't really even live on the website of that brand. They had a survey in America, and most adults who thought that they were doing an impulse buy discovered that about 50% of them were nudged into that purchase through dark advertising. It's really something to look at in terms of boosting your sales online. Sustainability is a hot topic, and specifically in clothing retail, it is getting hotter and hotter. Fast fashion has been accused of being the second most wasteful or unsustainable sector. So clothing retailers are doing everything they can to appease this new sentiment from their customers. One Danish company has come up with an ingenious way of creating a circular economy with the clothes that they sell. In their clothing labels, sewn into your garment is a small QR code. When you get to the stage where you would like to get rid of the garment, you want to trade it in or donate it somewhere, instead of it landing into a landfill and just going to waste, you simply scan that QR code, and what the QR code does is automatically generate an advert that goes out onto all your social media platforms. It then informs your friends and followers that you are ready to sell, barter, or just give away the garment that you've loved to wear. But the more we move into a digitized world, we want sensory and tactile experiences as well. So how do you balance digitized business models with a tactility? One of the more interesting concepts that have really emerged for online retailers are ghost retailers. So ghost retailers are companies that will assist online-only businesses with a physical presence. They will start a little store. It's not a pop-up. It is a physical store that gives you that physical presence, and they will manage that store while you continue with your online business. But this has remarkable benefits in terms of your business. You can reduce your capital expenditure, your costs get reduced, you can even start new revenue streams and find new customers. It's a win-win situation. But ghost retailers is just part of a larger movement, which is really exciting for smaller entrepreneurs. This is the B2B sharing economy. We understand sharing economies as ride sharing or even possibly booking somebody else's home on Airbnb. But during the pandemic, we've started to see this subtle shift where businesses are starting to look to partnerships where you can boost a business model. Businesses are starting to look at each other to see where they can dovetail their services to reduce costs and to increase their business opportunities. For example, some hotels have allowed other smaller businesses to come in and use their kitchens as a dark kitchen. A dark kitchen being a kitchen that just cooks for delivery services. Uber Eats has also upped their game, and what they want to do is not just deliver food, but they also want to become the virtual mall of the future. So you are able to buy anything you want within 30 minutes. This is a remarkable opportunity for young entrepreneurs or smaller businesses. You don't have to look at your own logistics, your own distribution network. You're able to piggyback onto a larger company who does this. For the company that is delivering, it also increases the inventory and uses the smaller businesses as fulfillment centers. So it's a win-win situation for both. But if we're going to go into virtual malls, then we have to discuss the future of e-commerce and social selling. And this is digital fashion in the metaverse. So what do I mean by that? During the pandemic, some luxury brands like your Gucci's, Balenciaga's, Valentino's started creating replicas of their collections and converting them into avatar skins. And they were giving these away to young Gen Zs who were on platforms like Animal Crossing or Roblox. So people started to wonder what was up with this, because these are young children who can't really afford the luxury brands. But it is a very strategic move, because once that brand loyalty is embedded on games and within a young demographic, by the time they can actually afford that brand loyalty will be deeply, deeply embedded. But avatar skins have already started to evolve, and we have a new category of digital fashion. And what is digital fashion? Well, digital fashion is buying a garment that you won't tactically feel or own, but you superimpose that onto your social media feeds. So you look fabulous on Instagram, but you're not actually going to physically own that garment. One of the things that is really interesting is the proliferation or the growth of digital-only fashion brands in the last 18 months. This really signifies that this is a new category, not only in terms of business, but in terms of clothing retail, that we should be starting to really look at, because it's not going to go away. If you look at brands like H&M, they are using this new digital strategy to their best advantage. In Animal Crossing, they've created this little island called Loop Island, where you can actually bring your avatar skins and recycle them or trade them in. This is also a very, very clever, forward-thinking strategy for them, because it is embedding a message of sustainability for the brand, but they're also capturing the imagination of the young users to recycle those avatar skins. If this seems a little bit confusing, I suggest you just ask a 10 or 12-year-old about their avatar skin collections, and then you'll see why this is such a clever strategy. But another fast fashion retailer has gone one step further, and they've entered into this new realm called virtual co-creation. It's a clever strategy where you allow users within a game or somewhere in the metaverse to create a mini store for the brand. You're able to build the store, you're able to dress the windows, you pick from the digital inventory of that brand, and you stock the little store of your own. You start selling that to your friends, and it creates an entrepreneurial spirit for young people, but also embeds a very, very deep loyalty to that clothing brand. But if this blurring of the lines between a physical world and a virtual world seems a little bit strange, then we better get used to it, because this word, phygital, keeps cropping up more and more frequently. It's a combination of the words physical and digital, and that's what people are starting to say is the future of where retail is starting to go. You will no longer be considering either an offline world, which is bricks and mortar, or otherwise an e-commerce or online world. The two will blend completely into this phygital world. It is something that people are saying is the future of retail, and it's no longer on or offline. It is simply just existing and shopping wherever you are.